that vision from Pop or from another person as a head coach.
Well, I would think it's very important, right? Going into the draft, going into free agency, all those things that an organization needs as they try to build a roster going forward towards the next season. Again, I don't think we're at that point yet, as the NBA playoffs have just started. And I think there's time for Pop and the organization and everybody involved in this to make some sort of a plan going forward. And then, we'll see where it goes. But, I don't know that there's anything that you or I could do to accelerate the timeline just because, we want some conclusion to all this.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the Spurs have proved that they're not going to accelerate any sort of timeline. They're not gonna skip steps, is what they keep saying. So things happening behind the scenes. Let's hear from Mitch and Wemby real quick, what they said last week. We've played a couple of these bites already, but it's worth rehearing them today to hear what they said about Pop and the future of the head coaching job in San Antonio.
I think we're in good hands. We're supporting each other all throughout the organization. So I'm ready for anything, and I know the organization will do the good decisions.
This organization is still prioritizing Pop's health, and at time he will, do what he needs to do and make decisions, and that will go through this organization on very many levels.
Welcome to everyone who's now watching us on the stream. We finally got it up and running and the right side around, so that's good. We'll post the full podcast here probably an hour and a half or so if anyone wants to watch the first 10 minutes that you missed. Thoughts on the comments?
I mean, I think it's standard for what's been the narrative throughout all this, right? Prioritize Pop's health, and then we'll see where that takes us. Again, I don't know that a decision has to be made today or tomorrow. They've got at least a few weeks before those ping pong balls start popping. So I would imagine at some point in and around that time frame, we're going to know a little bit more about what the coaching situation looks like for the Spurs for next season.
Well, whoever the coach is, whether it's Pop, whether it's Mitch, whether it's anybody else, the cupboard's full for this team going forward. Steph Castle is named the NBA Rookie of the Year finalist. He is the second consecutive winner. If he wins, he would be the second consecutive Spur to win Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Wemby won it unanimously last year. We know that Steph will not win unanimously because someone voted for Zachary Risachet for some unknown reason. He's going to win. Like, he's going to win this award. He's going to become the fourth Spur in history to win it. Obviously, David, Wemby, Timmy, and him will be the list of Spurs to win it. These are his rookie ranks via Jordan Howenstein over at the Spurs. He's first in points among rookies, only rookie over 1,000. He's first in steals. He's first in free throws with 100, more than anyone. He's third in assists. He's ninth in rebounds, and he played the fifth most minutes of any rookie this year. I mean, what he did this year was everything that Don and you and I thought that he was going to do, and probably exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a phenomenal year, right? And based on what other rookies did, I mean, the two Memphis kids had a great year too. Risachet, obviously, he's no slouch. But again, if you add it all up, right? I mean, there's some things that Stephon Castle didn't do well this year. I mean, his plus minus is atrocious. There's some other things that some of those other guys did well, but all things being equal, he's done enough against what other rookies have done. You would think or surmise at this point that he's done enough to get it.
He's also done all of that while also usually guarding the best player on the other team. Like, he is a very, very, very good defender. And they knew that coming in because he played over at UConn and he was a great defender there and kind of a role player at UConn. Comes in and is really starting to get into his own. He reminds me a lot of a better shooting Jimmy Butler because his hands are always active. He always plays ferocious defense. His demeanor is a little bit, obviously not as much as Jimmy is, but Jimmy couldn't shoot a lick when he came into the league. Steph Castle's already shooting a little bit more than Jimmy was, a little bit better than Jimmy was. But if you can play good defense in this league and you can make decent decisions, you're going to be in the league for a long time and you're going to be in the top tier, probably top couple of tiers of players. He needs to improve his shot. He needs to improve his consistency. He needs to improve his decision making. He needs to be able to pass the ball better. But without Chris Paul on this team, which I think is the consensus that Chris Paul will not be back to make room for Steph Castle as the 1 or the 2 or whatever you're going to have him at with De'Aaron Fox on the floor, you're going to have more of those decision-making opportunities, more assist opportunities. So it's going to be interesting to see how he grows into that role.
And I sure hope they bring Chris Paul back because, again, I hate to go back to plus minus, but Chris Paul's was pretty good, all things being equal. I mean, there's value there. I don't think, if we're still in the middle of this plan, which I would argue they're still not that close to breaking down the ceiling, in terms of really competing for a championship, that why not have another year of Chris Paul in that room and helping the younger guys try to figure this stuff out and, try to help mold a team together.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that last week. It's all about what Chris wants, right? If he wants to play, then he's not going to really get that opportunity here that much anymore. He's not going to start at all 82 games next year, that's for sure. Not with De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle and Devin Vassell on the team. So if he wants to take a lesser role, which I don't think he's going to want to do.
Yeah, I mean, he probably wants to play for somebody that's knocking at the door.
But he wants to play. That he's made that clear in every press conference he's had this year. He wants to just go out and ball. He wants to go play. He wants to hoop. And so if he's going to be away from his family and his family still lives in LA, then he wants to go play somewhere. And so whether that's, I think at this point in his career, he's going to have to do it for a bad team. If he wants to play for a good team, then he might have to come off the bench. But the year that he came off the bench with the Warriors, he hated it. So it's going to be interesting to see what CP3 does. But as far as Steph Castle goes, this is what Victor Wembanyama had to say last weekend about his teammate.
The first thing I think about is, Rookie of the Year, you got one chance to win it. After that, it's over. So it's a big, big milestone, and I'm really proud. First of all, I'm really proud of Steph for what he's done in his adaptation in the league and his growth. But I'm really proud of my teammates for, also giving him the chance to do that, being good teammates, good friends, creating an environment, because it's never a one man's job, just like the organization and my teammates and the staff did for me last year, they did the same for Steph this year.
Has Steph done enough to prove to you that he's untouchable, kind of like Wemby is?
No,
really?
No.
Why is that?
Still too young. I mean, obviously the ceiling's really high, but no, I don't think anybody on this roster is untouchable at this point. I mean, obviously things didn't work out towards the end with guys getting hurt, but I just think looking at the lay of the land and some of these other teams and how they play well together, there's a lot that this team still needs to get them closer to where they want to be.
I think that's fair. But as far as trades go, and I think Steph has done enough this year. You don't see Rookie of the Year very often. The Spurs have been around for 60 years, and they were the Chaparrals, obviously, but they've been around for a long time, and they've only had 4 Rookies of the Year, and they were 3 of the best 3 players in franchise history. Wemby, you can be debatable if he's the best player in franchise history or top 5 at this point because of Manu and Tony, obviously, but I digress.
Yeah, it's a hard thing.
It's hard at this point to say that Steph isn't part of a championship future.
I mean, if you give him a trophy like Rookie of the Year or something that he's earned, I should say, that means something, right? It means something throughout the league. But, I think the reason why I wouldn't move him now is he's still working under a rookie contract. So that means a lot when you're trying to build, a team around some of these key pieces. But no, I think everything should be on the table right now. And let's really evaluate what the year looked like. He got to play a lot because guys got hurt too. That wasn't the plan. It didn't look like early on. So would he even been in a position to win Rookie of the Year had Victor not gotten hurt, had De'Aaron Fox not gotten banged up there at the end?
That's fair.
Probably. But, it's hard to say what you would do in the moment without really evaluating everything. At the end of the day, whether you give Victor earns Rookie of the Year or Steph Castle earns Rookie of the Year, at the end of the day, what does it mean in terms of how many ball games you're winning on the floor?
Fair enough. I think it's fair to say that the Spurs' future is bright. We just need to figure out the cloud that's looming over them in terms of the head coaching situation. Obviously, health is the most important thing for
Amen.
Greg Popovich. Can't say that enough.
Yep.
So let's start with the NFL draft here. So NFL draft on Thursday. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite events of the entire year. When I was in college, I used to do my own mock drafts and stuff like that. I actually got one published in my hometown paper, which was funny. But I love the draft. It's so interesting to me to be able to follow college football and see which players are doing so well and really pay attention a little bit more to college football. It makes me pay attention a little bit more to college football because I want to know who's going to be really good at the next level. And then I have my own opinions of it, obviously, but listening to everything, seeing everything. And it's really the one day of the year, or the 3 days of the year, where every fan in the NFL has hope, right? Like, no matter if you're a Jaguars fan, if you're a Browns fan, if you're a Chiefs fan, you all have hope to get better with those picks. Some organizations better with their picks than others, obviously, but every single team in the NFL, every fan base in the NFL has hope on Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this week. So with that being said, what are you hopeful for the Cowboys first and then the Texans?
Well, I mean, obviously both teams have holes, right? I mean, both teams could really use a legit number 2 or 3 receiver. But, I'm like a lot of guys in this, that you've got to literally take the best guy. Even if the best guy is sitting there at a position that you don't need necessarily, like let's say for the Texans, it's defensive end. If the best guy on your board is there, regardless of how much wealth you have at a certain spot, these picks are too valuable. Like the Texans have 7 picks, right?
Yeah.
And they
first
have
one at 25.
So but they've got 4 really good ones at the top. I mean, in terms of
4 in the top 90.
Right. That's significant. So, there's a chance you're going to be able to fill in some of these holes, but at the bottom of this, you've got to take the best guy available no matter what. And even if it means, like, if you're the Cowboys and you feel like you have a plethora of good DBs, you still have to go get that guy if he's there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams are pressured, I want to say, into drafting need over best player available.
And they'll do that with quarterback.
And they'll
right?
do that. I mean, yeah, you pay the quarterback tax and you end up drafting Jackson Dart at 11 when he should be drafted at 26 or whatever the case may be. Shedeur Sanders gets drafted in the top 10 because of his name and because of the position he plays, when he might be needing to be drafted in the bottom 20 or in the past 20. So obviously the quarterback tax is a real thing, but the quarterback tax for teams like the Cowboys, it helps them because teams are going to be trading up. Maybe someone trades ahead of them to get Shedeur Sanders that knocks Ashton Genty down or knocks Matthew Golden down to them or whoever. So if you're the Cowboys, if you're Jerry and Stephen Jones on Thursday at number 12, what position are you targeting at that point? What is the biggest need for this team?
Well, they need another receiver, right? They need defensive linemen, probably need a linebacker, right? There's a lot of need for Dallas. That goes back to the earlier premise. Just take the best dude available. And I would really be apprehensive of taking a running back that high up.
I think the only way that they draft a running back at 12 is if Ashton Genty is there. Ashton Genty is a consensus top 4, top 5 player in this draft. He is the best running back prospect since probably Adrian Peterson came out. That is inclusive of everybody.
I know that guy in the Eagles was pretty well ballyhooed, and he certainly hit a home run.
That's including everybody. Saquon, Bijan, Zeke Elliott, who did really well at the top of the draft. He was drafted 4th. Genty has the goods, and so if you are Jerry, I think it would be really difficult not to draft Ashton Genty at 12 if he's available. I don't think he will be. But if he is, I think it would be really difficult because right now you have what on your roster? Javonte Williams, who was a retread running back from the Broncos, played well, torn his ACL, wasn't really able to come back from that. Miles Sanders, who is now on his 3rd team after he played well with the Eagles, but with that offensive line, anyone can run behind him. It seems like obviously Saquon did the better job because he's a better running back, but Miles Sanders ran for 1,000 yards with the Eagles. And then you have Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, and Hunter Lepke, who's the fullback. So you really don't have a number 1 on this team. And the Cowboys last year really started to get it going when you had the number 1, when you finally decided, okay, Rico Dowdle's our number 1. So I do think that whether it's a day 1, day 2, or day 3 pick, they need to choose someone who is that number 1 back, whether it's Quinshon Judkins in the 2nd round, whether it's Travion Henderson in the 2nd round, who I think is more of a gadget, not a gadget guy, but lesser of a 3-down back, Omarion Hampton, maybe you trade back from 12 and get Omarion Hampton. You get KJ Sanders, or you get any of these guys. Cam Scottaboo. You draft any of those guys, you need a number one back. And I think that's important for the Cowboys to get in this draft. It's a really deep running back class, so they could get it on day 2 or day 3. But I think they go receiver in round 1. Matthew Golden could be huge for this team, especially after losing the speed of Brandon Cooks. Tolbert isn't that big, quick guy. You have Turpin, obviously, who's very fast, but he's about this tall.
Yep.
Matthew Golden could change the face of that offense and give them someone that could take some pressure off of CeeDee Lamb finally.
Agree. It's hard for me to argue that, right? If you could find somebody else, because even if teams roll on CD, he still gets his, right?
Yeah.
So now you put another guy over there that can, that somebody's got to pay attention to, where he's going to beat you downfield. Again, I don't know what these guys look like grade wise and all that. I haven't talked to any scouts about any of what's going on with that, but just on the surface, yeah, that sure seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, there was a mock draft I saw that had Teteroa McMillan, the U of A receiver, who's big, like more of a Marquise Colston type guy, or a Mike Evans type guy. I mean, if you want Mike Evans on your team, then that's great. I'll take it. I'll take it. But Tet McMillan is kind of T-Mac, as they call him, is kind of falling a little bit. I'm not sure. He ran in the 4.5, so his speed's not great. Also, I don't know if that's the kind of receiver that you need in that offense, seeing as that CeeDee Lamb is that receiver. He's faster than that. CD, don't come at me. I know you're fast. CeeDee Lamb is obviously faster than that and can take the top off of a defense, but you need someone over the top of CD. So when he's running that 15-yard dig in the middle, the safety's not bearing down on him. The safety's taken off over the top. So you need that Matthew Golden type guy to be able to run the post on top of the dig route and open up the middle of the field. So I think that would fit in this offense a lot better.
I agree 100%. I mean, if you could add another receiver, how much that then opens up the field for everybody else. Stretch the field, as they like to say. I'm with you. How this will turn out, I have no idea. I would say, though, they've done a reasonably good job drafting over the last half decade. I would for sure just take who's ever the highest guy you've got rated on your board.
How important, if you had to rank these 4 positions for the Cowboys in terms of need, what is the 1 being they need this the most, 4 being they need it the least? Rank these 4 for me. Running back, receiver, offensive line, specifically guard, and linebacker.
I would go receiver.
That's the biggest need.
Yep.
Okay.
Any spots on the offensive line.
2.
Then linebacker, then running back.
Really?
Yeah.
Why running back last?
Because, I mean, I think if you went even to where we were sitting here last year at this time, where even McCarthy was screaming, please go get me a running back in this draft. And that turned out to be probably the right move that the Cowboys didn't, based on how everybody performed essentially in that rookie class. And then there was an injury, obviously, here or there, too.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks, obviously, is the guy they wanted, but ended up getting hurt with the Panthers.
But, again, this is so hard to try to figure out what does the future look like. But for me, they were able to do a dance around their issues, let's say, at running back. And then Rico ended up being the dude the last half of the season.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's going to be really interesting. And the Cowboys have proven that they can find offensive linemen later in the draft. They've proven that time and time again. Look at Cooper Beebe, last year. And I mean, Brock Hoffman, all these guys that they have on their team that were not first-round draft picks. I mean, they're really good at first-round draft picks with offensive linemen, too. Don't get me wrong. Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, all those guys, Hall of Famers. But they're really, really good at finding diamonds in the rough. Will McClay is phenomenal at finding offensive linemen later.
Can't say enough of what they knew they had in Brock Hoffman until they were pressed to have to play him, and then how well that team ran the football after Zach Martin went down.
Last thing here, the Texans are completely remodeling the offensive line for obvious reasons. C.J. Stroud got bludgeoned last year and was on his back seemingly every 5 times a game. They got rid of Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason, added Cam Robinson, Laken Tomlinson, Ed Ingram, but I would argue that offensive line is still their biggest need.
Agree.
I mean, they need offense. They need receivers because Tank Dell ain't walking through that door. He's limping through that door right now. He's probably not going to be healthy until midway through the season, and Steph Diggs is gone. So you don't have a lot of receivers. You don't have a lot of help for Nico Collins out there. And so you need receiver. You probably need a little bit of a running back because Dameon Pierce hasn't proved to be a great backup to Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's getting a little older, and you need offensive line bad.
Agree. They're also in a good position, though, where they don't have to draft for need. And we don't know what they're going to end up doing. They've got, as we said, 4 really good picks. And then you could start bundling those picks at the bottom that they have, those other 3 picks, to maybe move up and get in an even better position to go get the guys you want. I don't think it would be a stretch to say that, would you be shocked if the Texans took a receiver in the first round and then went and got 3 offensive linemen after that?
No, I wouldn't be shocked at anything that the Texans do unless they drafted a quarterback in the first round, which they won't do, obviously. That would be the most surprising thing of all.
Right.
All right, that's all we got for you today on the Sneakers Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell a friend, tell an enemy. We'll be talking all NFL draft on Thursday, so join us then for more Cowboys and Texans talk. We'll see you then.